I abbreviate LOM, levels of manifestation. There are 7 levels. Doesn't matter what order we put them in, but I'm going to start here with whole being, the whole being level. And the next is, you might say, the whole body. And the whole body level, within this level, we have the physical body, the emotional body, the causal body, the mental body. Each of these bodies are whole within themselves. And they all, even though they're very different vibrationally, in general they follow some very similar laws when you compare the whole body level to the other levels of manifestation. Okay, whole body, then we have system, organ, cell or cellular, molecular, and atomic. We're going to be focusing on the whole being level today. The whole being level encompasses all of this. The whole being level is non-local. You might say it encompasses all of this, and yet it also permeates all of this, all of the other levels. It's that place of all-knowing, and yet it's not exactly the spiritual self. It is in that it's all-knowing, it's sort of everywhere, it's non-local, but it isn't, because it has everything to do with the manifestation of who we are as well. It's kind of a enigma, the whole being level, but it's that level that gives us the information about our main color ray. It is the closest to our spiritual self. And in saying that, each one of these levels of manifestation also has a direct link up to that source of spirituality that is who we are. Okay. When we test the main ray, what we're really doing is we're testing the spectrum of the whole being level. Each of these, the spectrums at each of these other levels belong to the whole being level spectrum. So if the whole being level spectrum, let's say this was our spectrum, whole being, the whole body level is within this. Say physical, it's the emotional spectrum, here's the causal spectrum, mental spectrum, superphysical spectrum. All the bodies within the whole body spectrum are incorporated in the whole being spectrum. System level, we have 18 systems that we recognize in Gemstone Therapy. Each of those spectrums, well, I'm not going to draw 18 lines, but each of those spectrums are within and encompassed by the whole body spectrum, which is encompassed by the whole being spectrum. Organ. In Gemstone Therapy, an organ includes the visceral organs, heart, lungs, spleen, but also organs like the hand, wrist, arm, elbow. Organs, groups of tissues that share a common function. So, of all the many, many organs in the body, each of their spectrums belong to the systems, belong to the whole body. So you see where I'm going here. Cells, same thing, molecules, atoms. The spectrums of the atoms very much, well, actually spectrums of atoms are a completely different thing. They're very, very squirrely. But certainly the molecules spectrum, the molecular spectrums are incorporated by the cellular spectrums, and on and on. So that any shifts that are made in the whole being spectrum is going to influence all these spectrums. And that's a really important point, because it means that anything that we do with our main ray working with the main ray. It can be working holistically. And we can identify organs and systems. We can actually identify the specific spectrum of a particular organ by its organ window, or a system by its system window, or even of a whole body. More difficult to identify cellular spectrums because they're so small and, they're microscopic, but certainly organ, system, whole body, we can work directly with these spectrums. And in a gemstone therapy session, if a target area is an organ, client comes to you saying, I would like to work with the energies associated with such and such an organ, then in order to give your client what he's asking for, you want to target that. And sometimes an individual's situation is so involved, their focus is so involved on a particular manifestation, that you have to work on some of these levels first before that intense focus can relax a little bit and the individual can broaden their perspective to be able to encompass that whole being level and to be able to get the information of this particular spectrum. Again, the whole being spectrum is what contains the information about the main ray. It's the part of us that is closest, you might say, to our highest spiritual self, or our soul. The whole being spectrum contains information about the main ray, and like any other spectrum, it may have a limiting ray, and it might not, depends. And it will definitely have secondary rays, but it is possible to have a limiting ray in your whole being spectrum. Just for the benefit of repetition, the whole being spectrum is the one that carries the main ray information, and the reason that we want to identify and work with this spectrum is because it umbrellas and it influences the spectrums that exist at all other levels of manifestation of our being. So it's definitely a way to address holistically our whole self, and not just physical issues, but life issues, the grand scheme life issues, issues about purpose and fulfilling purpose and destiny and why we're here and how we can best utilize our resources to be in this life and do and serve and create and outflow and interact to our fullest capacity. That's what the main ray allows us to do.